Hey, Rob, how are you?
Hey, Mike. Good to see you.
You too. Rob, if I could start you just with your thoughts on the impact of LeBron and AD's signing and committing to future years with the franchise. What is the biggest thing that you take out of that and what that means?
I think probably the word trust. I think AD and LeBron, I think, share a common quality with us of just being about the work and trusting the work. And I think yesterday, when we got the commitment from both of those players, it was a great day that was defined by the trust we've built in the relationships with those guys, and just really a truly exciting day for Lakers Nation and the fans, knowing that those two pillars of the franchise will be with us for a long time. It's a great moment.
And then, Rob, last time we spoke to you, it was about Schroeder, but you had still yet to make some of the other moves. Just wondered how, with Montrezl Harrell, with Marc Gasol, with Wesley Matthews specifically, how you see them fitting into the vision that you had for putting this team together.
Yeah, I think the first thing when you go into free agency and have a new roster, your first thoughts go to the guys that were such a huge part of winning the 17th championship for the Lakers, and guys like Rajon and Dwight and JaVale and Danny and Avery, who will be etched in the history of this franchise forever. Um, and it's hard to see those guys go or be on other teams, and we're so grateful for what they've meant to us and what they mean to this franchise. Um, but free agency itself, I guess, to use a metaphor analogy, I recently with my wife watched The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. I don't know if anyone's watched that show, but free agency is a little bit like playing a game of simultaneous chess with 29 other teams, and they're all really smart, and they have their plans and their boards, and they're going to make their moves. And we've thought out our various chess moves that we can make, and you never know exactly how the game's going to be played out. I think if you watch that show on Netflix, you see the ins and outs of chess and how to study the board, but you don't know until you play the game how it's going to go. But I think to come out of it with some of the new players we were able to sign, Montrezl Harrell, and you said Dennis Schroeder we picked up in the trade, Wes Matthews, Marc Gasol, and then bringing back some of the core players from last year's team. Um, we're excited that the work we put into it, the preparation that the front office put into it, panned out where we feel like we have a strong roster.
Okay, we're going to go to Bill Oram, please.
Hey, Rob, good to see you again. Last time we talked to you, you said you weren't going to be complacent with this as you approach this offseason, and I think that there's been quite a bit of overhaul for a team that won a championship, and I'm curious how you approach this offseason in terms of really wanting to keep your foot on the gas, and how different you see this team being in terms of the way it will play, and what gives you confidence that you guys can recapture some of the, for lack of a better term, magic or chemistry that you guys had that carried you to that title.
Well, I think Frank Vogel and his coaching staff have made it really clear that the identity of this team is centered on sort of defense and just playing gritty, tenacious basketball. When you have talented guys like LeBron and AD, things on the offensive end are going to work themselves out. But if you look at the guys we added, Schroeder, I think, is a pit bull of a defender. Montrezl Harrell is one of the hardest playing players in the NBA, just the way he brings it every night. I think Marc Gasol, a defensive player of the year, who is one of the highest IQ players in today's game. So, and then Wesley Matthews, who's been just a standout 3-and-D guy. So I think it's really building a team around the identity of kind of how the coaching staff wants to coach, and that's with defense and high basketball IQ and grit, and that's how we built it. Those threads and those themes can run through a franchise and can continue because it's just the natural part of sports that players will come and go. But if you have that that identity and who you are and how you will play, that'll endure. And that's what this team's about right now.
Dave McMenamin, please.
Hey, Rob, Dave McMenamin with ESPN. When you make the acquisitions of someone like a Schroeder, hey, Rob, Dave, when you make an acquisition like someone like Dennis Schroeder and you recognize your cap situation moving forward, how vital it is to get ahead of that and have conversations with his representatives about the potential for a long-term commitment after the contract is up, considering that you'd be able to go above the salary cap to re-sign someone like him.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was very purposeful about our offseason was to try to get younger. I think we have obviously, again, with LeBron and AD as the two pillars, our two captains, our two unicorns, it's being able to find young players that can win now and also carry forward the torch with AD, lining up with his age. I think Schroeder's a great example of that. Obviously Montrez, another great example, just lining up with AD's age. And I think we want to strive to try to keep our young players that we have on this team. We like the core, we like how it lines up, and I think Dennis, Kyle, Kuzma is up for an extension. These are things that we're continuing to focus on, but we like how the team got younger, faster, and our intention would be to try to keep that identity and that core together.
Thanks.
Okay, Kyle Goon, please.
Hey, Rob. So obviously, you guys have, one of the shortest off seasons along with the Heat. And then the structure of the season is going to have some inherent risks when it comes to COVID. I'm wondering, do you feel like the guys you brought in or the way you constructed the roster is sort of designed to have different guys who can carry the team on different nights, depending on if LeBron or AD are missing games due to rest or some other situation during the regular season?
Yeah, listen, I think the bubble experience created issues that no NBA team could have foreseen at the beginning. And I think one of the things that we were really mindful and thoughtful of was, given the new things that popped up, we had to be really strong with how we handled them with our players and partnered with them to get through some of that stuff. And I think this year will be different than the bubble, but it'll have unexpected things arise that you'll have to work through as a team. And I do think all of us, just at the human level, have seen the challenges that the pandemic has created, and we think through it in our own lives and what it means. And so certainly that thread of thinking goes into a roster too, and how can you be successful? How can you be versatile? How can you be deep, knowing that there might be unexpected things flashed your way as a result of the pandemic.
Okay, Dan Weike, please.
Hey, Rob. Good to see you. Just kind of a housekeeping question. Do you anticipate to have everybody available for start of practice on Sunday for team practices? And I guess let's just start with that. Is everybody healthy and clear?
Yeah, there's nothing on my radar right now that would suggest that people won't be there on the start of training camp, but that can change by the moment.
You don't say. I think the second question I have for you is, Bill touched on this a little bit. You guys were really big last year. You had a lot of different big lineups. Maybe a little bit smaller this year. Was that by design, an accident? Is that just kind of how it worked out?
Yeah, I guess it'll remain to be seen whether that's a true statement or not. I mean, when I walked downstairs and saw Marc Gasol the other day, I mean, it would hard to be thinking we got smaller when you see someone like him. And I think Trez has shown the ability to play the 4 and the 5. And then when you have guys like LeBron, who's 6'9", 6'10", AD 6'10", 6'11", Kyle Kuzma 6'10". It's hard to think that I still think we're a big team, big, long, versatile team.
Okay, Joe Varden, please.
Hey, Rob. Joe Varden from The Athletic. I had a quick question. Will the rings, will they actually be ready for opening night?
That's a good question, Joe. So our business side, who's led by Tim Harris, they tend to be more in charge of those things, and I think it's something that's ongoing. So I don't want to answer a question I don't know the answer to.
Okay, I just figured. I know those things can take a while, but my bigger question, and thanks for allowing me the time. It's hard to figure in a way like how the Lakers will have a sense of urgency right away, given everything you just went through, and you literally just won a title. But I guess my question for you would be, you think the team is new enough? Like you brought in enough guys that didn't win it last year, so maybe for them, like they would kind of infuse the rest of the team or carry the team early as far as like coming, ready to play that level of basketball that early?
I think we've got a lot of really passionate guys and a lot of really high IQ basketball players. So I don't think there's going to be any lack of energy and intensity. I've kind of felt it in the building with our individual workouts that, as everybody knows, have started. I think this team's excited to play, excited, for the challenges of coming together. I think, one of the hardest things to do in all of sports is defending a title. And I think in talking with, the 15 players that are on our roster, everybody recognizes just how difficult it is to summit twice in a row. It's a whole separate set of challenges. It's very different than winning a title after 10 years, which is what we experienced last year. So I think guys understand the gravity around that and just how big of a challenge that is. And I think they're up for that. Excited to take on that challenge and really just excited to get to work.
Okay, we'll just take a few more. We're going to go with Mark Medina, please.
Hey, Mark Medina, USA Today. Good to see you, Robin. Hope you're hanging in there.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, I was intrigued with the point you made on the team's statement about having excitement to see AD continue to grow and become a leader for future years. Obviously, he's accomplished a lot this past season, but how do you envision what kind of leader Anthony will be these next few years?
Well, I think he made a incredible commitment to the franchise by choosing to sign a 5-year contract, and part of that I think goes with his statement to the rest of the NBA that this is my team. And when you make a statement like that, that is a leadership act. And I think combined with just how dominant he was in the bubble, I think he's arguably one of the most dominant two-way players. The way he impacts the game at both ends and just how complete he's become on offense is extraordinary. So I think his act of signing to me was a big leadership statement right there.
Okay, Andy Kamenetsky, please.
Hey, Rob. You've now had 3 full years with the front office and coming off a championship. When you look back at everything that's happened and your role in it, where do you think you've grown most in terms of leading the organization?
Maybe a question best asked for people that work, side by side. But I think the thing that is in me that's grown the most is just gratitude for this place. I think being able to work with a wonderful governor like Jeannie, who, as I've said before, she leads with intelligence and with her heart, which is a rare combination in leadership. Getting to work with Linda, who is a trusted advisor to her, and just the other wonderful people in the front office. I think I'm just grateful to have been a part of it for 3 years. And now when we get to see the accomplishments from last season. I think it just fuels our passion and desire to work harder and just to keep going. I think Dr. Buss has formed the core of who we are, and we want to carry forward his vision for this franchise. And by having great players here and by being a team that's a contender and that works hard and tries to deliver to the fans every ounce of energy we have. And I think I'm grateful for the opportunity to work in a place like this.
Okay, we're going to go with Mike Bresnahan.
Yeah, hey Rob, thanks for the time today. Really appreciate that. You've mentioned Montrez a couple of times already. Obviously, he got the lion's share of your free agent spending money. What made you target him as the biggest guy to go after in free agency with his unique skill set and whatnot?
It's easy. I mean, he stands for everything that we want to stand for, which is, again, that sort of nasty grit, competitive. Every play is a winning play. Every 50-50 ball is mine. He's a terror and a beast to play against, and the energy he brings is it's palpable already. You know, just having him in the building. I was downstairs yesterday, and I said I feel like, you know, when you walk in, the electricity in the building like spikes or something, and all the lights get brighter. Because he just has that enthusiasm and passion for the game and for competition, and you know, to get a chance to sign a player like him is such a privilege. So, and I think, you know, some of the guys that we were able to sign and bring back too, I think KCP was such an important standout for us. Again, his two-way abilities in the bubble, and you know, Caruso is continuing to grow. He plays with that same grit and grind, and Markieff Morris, you know, we just love his versatility, his ability to play small ball 5, to play stretch 4. Just an incredible teammate and hard worker. So, you know, to a man, I could go through the whole roster. We're excited about the guys we have this year for sure.
Okay, Kyle Goon.
Hey Rob, just had a follow up. You know, it's not a lot of guys who it might seem like a savvy move to lock them up through the age 38 season, but obviously you guys signed a 2-year extension for LeBron right after he's the runner-up for MVP. I was wondering to the extent that you can talk to us about those discussions and that decision process to get LeBron under contract through 2023. What was important to you in going through those negotiations, and what value do you think LeBron will kind of continue to bring the franchise as he gets older?
You know, I don't, the game, it's the way that LeBron plays is just so rare. You know, has the game seen a player at 6'10" that can do the things he does? I think, you know, of course, Magic is another one of those incredibly unique players that his game, LeBron's game, is not at all just built on athleticism. He's, you know, his game is built on IQ, strength, just his size, and his experiences. I think that he's going to continue to, because of those gifts, he's going to continue to be a dominant player well beyond what maybe the regular, ordinary NBA player would be able to do. So it wasn't even a debate for us. It was something that was very clear. And we think he's going to be effective and provide extraordinary value for every year he decides to play as a Laker. And I think what was especially satisfying and exciting about this is, I think that now you can see, with the legacy he's establishing as a Laker, that his greatness will be defined here. And I'm sure he'll hang many jerseys someday, but we hope one of those will be a Lakers jersey.
Okay, Brad Turner.
How you doing, Rob?
E.T., good to see you, man.
Likewise. Hey, in your conversations with other executives and people around the league, with the virus going the way it is right now, Have you guys had any sort of discussions of another potential bubble situation for even a short period of time?
That's not a framework that has come up on the GM calls with the league up to this point. Again, the pandemic is fluid, and so I think everybody is open-minded that, you know, the players' health and safety and the fans' health and safety and the staff members' health and safety is by far number one. And I think, so I think everything is still on the table, but it's not something that's currently being focused on.
Okay, and last question, we're going to go with Bill Oram, please.
Hey, Rob, just to follow up on some of the AD stuff, you know, there's been such a trend of superstars signing short-term deals to maximize their earning potential and to maintain their flexibility. LeBron did it, AD did it. When you guys were going into this negotiation period with Anthony, how likely did you think a long-term deal was? Was that something that you guys really were pushing for? And how excited were you that he gave you, and you touched on that part of it, I suppose, earlier, but to have